make your way to the main stage for a session hosted by an organization called Lift Digital Hub. This panel has representation from individuals who have careers at a variety of tech companies that you've definitely heard of, like FarFetch and Spotify. So you definitely want to be here. Thank you so much to them, and enjoy.
We're having a conversation about tech roles, how to get into tech roles, how to be a creative. I'm Amos Mukombero, and you're watching Local Insiders Digital Jobs. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Beatrice, everyone calls me B, and I'm an engineer.
I'm the social media and community executive.
Project manager.
I'm a creative computing artist and educator.
What I do for work is UX design.
Junior machine learning engineer.
I'm a software engineer.
Working collection.
I do product design at FarFetch.
I'm a data engineer.
What 3 essential skills would you say are needed for your job?
Communication, because you're always communicating with other people.
Being able to be proactive and kind of think ahead.
Willing and able to learn constantly.
Are there any challenges that you've faced?
So one of the struggles that I have is lack of accessibility. I'm actually deaf, so I wear hearing aids.
One of the biggest challenges is the learning curve.
I think one of the biggest obstacles in my career was getting my first junior role.
What's one thing about your role that maybe people overlook?
You might have the idea that everyone's an expert and everyone knows what they're doing, but it's not like that at all.
Borrowing, copying and pasting, whatever metaphor I can use, is a lot more common and okay than is perceived.
This lone developer idea, nothing could be further from the truth, you know.
If I was someone trying to get into your career path, what advice would you give?
Keep learning as you learn, figure out what you like and don't like, and whatever you like, lean into that more.
This industry is so accessible in the fact that you don't necessarily need a degree, you don't necessarily need a qualification to actually build a career.
The tech side of things is important, don't get me wrong, but meeting people and getting to know people, that's where it's really at.
Lift supports people from underrepresented backgrounds living in Camden, Hackney, Islington and Tower Hamlets to find jobs and training in the tech, creative and science sectors. For more information, visit www.liftfutures.london. This video has been presented by Lift and Good Growth Hub, supported by Mayor of London, in partnership with Camden, Hackney, Islington and Tower Hamlets Borough Councils. Creative direction and visuals by Walk with Amos and Usman Dare.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I know I've got the awkward spot just before lunchtime. However, I'm really grateful to see you all here today at Black Tech Fest Futures. Today is the second day of this event, so for all of you who have been participating in the virtual events from yesterday, it's great to see you here in person today. I've got the honor of moderating this panel of exceptional people who have careers in tech to showcase hopefully what you just saw were our premiere launch today. You're actually part of our showcase and first ever screening of our local insiders tech videos. So we're really grateful again that Black Tech Fest and Colour in Tech, thank you again for allowing us to participate and showcase our fantastic videos. So I'm going to go down the line and I'm actually going to start at the far end and ask you to introduce yourself. And by the way, my name's Patrice Buddington and I'm the moderator for today.
Hey guys, thank you for listening in, all those that are listening in. My name's Amos Mukombero. I'm a cultural tastemaker and creative director, and I run a company called Usman Dare.
Hello everyone, I'm Carlos. I do product design at FarFetch, and I'm also the co-chair of the Black Employee Network there. FarFetch, they have different communities for Eastern Asian people, South Asian people, people of the LGBTQIA plus community, and I'm the co-chair of the Black Employee Network. Outside of that, I design and help facilitate mental health workshops for Black men with TSIP. Actually, not TSIP, Shortest Trust. And yeah, I think that's a summary of what I do.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Joy, and I'm a data analyst consultant at QA. So the job involves training data analysts to become data analysts through our apprenticeship program. Outside of that, I'm also an educator in maths and languages, and I also run a property management business.
Hi everyone, my name is Beatrice. Everyone calls me B. I'm a software engineer at Spotify, and mainly I am a front-end engineer, so I deal with creating features at Spotify. I don't think I can say every feature that I'm building because, you know, NDA and stuff. Yeah, outside of work, I kind of like to have a work-life balance, so I exercise, go to the gym, and I like traveling.
Thank you. So I just want to say a bit more about the Lyft Local Insiders videos. So we have commissioned those videos and they were funded by Lyft, which is a 4-borough partnership. So Hackney, Camden, Islington and Tower Hamlets. And the aim of the programme is to encourage underrepresented groups into the kind of growth sectors, and one of those growth sectors being tech. And so these videos were an opportunity to raise awareness about pathways and career choices in digital and tech. And again, so we're going to be showcasing at the end. If you didn't get to see the teaser trailer, we'll show that again, but also these will be available online and on the website. But I'd just like to start off with my lovely panel here. I've been really fortunate that I've seen the videos and teasers of them before, but I'd like to just start off by, you know, looking back. When did you decide, and we'll start with you, Beatrice, when did you decide that tech was the career for you?
So I have a very unconventional route into tech. So I studied sociology at university, and then I did my master's in gender studies. And then from there, I worked in finance. And my older sister was like, you're a really good problem solver, and you're a bit of a nerd. So I think you should maybe like get into tech and do coding. And I was like, this kind of feels like shade. It doesn't feel like advice. But then everybody kept saying, you should get into tech. So I guess it was more of people were telling me they could see the skills within me that would allow me to get into tech. And also I like, I guess, quote unquote nerdy stuff like anime, gaming, and I taught myself graphic design when I was younger. So I guess there's no real route that I started at, basically.
Okay. And Joy?
Yep, so for me, it definitely didn't start off with tech.
You might want to move the mic a little bit closer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that better? Yeah. Lovely. So yeah, for me, it did not start with tech. It started, so my degree was actually in mathematics and sports science, and I did have some exposure to coding during my degree. However, it was something that I found very difficult, and it was something that I did not enjoy. So after my degree, I actually went into teaching. So I taught maths for about 6 years. And then it was only last year in the summer that a friend had spoken to me and said, oh, Joy, why don't you get into tech? There are lots of skills that is required for people who work in tech that lend themselves to what you can do. So I decided, okay, because this particular friend believed in me, I started looking into different avenues, and I taught myself how to design web pages and things of the sort. Through doing that, I found that it was actually quite enjoyable, difficult but enjoyable. I then started to look into different boot camps. So I found one that was free. I attended that, and that was very, very useful in advancing my understanding of just coding principles. I then applied for a role as a data engineer, which I was able to get, and then transferred into the role that I have now, which is a data analyst consultant. So that's my path.
Can I just say something? I always believed I had the most unconventional start to my tech role, but these guys beat me. Because I graduated in law in Ken, but I'd say halfway through my course, I realized that law wasn't really for me. By the time I graduated, I took that summer to just sort of find out what is it I wanted to do, and I did different things. I tried to get into videography. I tried to do a little bit of music engineering as well. I literally was trying to do anything to see where I felt my most comfortable, or at least the thing that gave me the tick and that was until I downloaded Adobe, and I did the 7-day free trial. After that, for some reason, something in me just said, this is the thing for me. Let me just go with this. I managed to blag my way into an internship with no experience. And then as time went on, I felt like I enjoyed graphic design, but I wanted a different challenge. And that's where I found out about UI, UX, pro design. And then that's when I found out about what New Direction was doing, which is a flip side program where essentially they take people from unconventional backgrounds, such as ourselves, and they give us, well, the program changes every year, but the way I did it was 3 months where we trained to be product designers, and then another 3 months as a placement. My placement was with FarFetch. After my placement, they said, we like you, and I've been there ever since.
Wow. So these journeys, they're all very unconventional and non-linear and take you through so many different, opportunities. And I think what's come up for me, and maybe a follow-up question, is how important were the almost failings of the kind of journey, or the kind of parts where you were like, this is not right? How important did you find that? And I'll start with you, Carlos, if you don't mind.
Okay, this is something that I've always told myself, and anyone that asks me questions around my career, is this: I never shamed my curiosity. I think it's easy to sort of end up in a situation where, because I've chosen this and this is my thing, for example, with law, I just need to keep going with it, even if I fail, whatever the case may be. And I think we do ourselves a disservice sometimes when we don't try to explore and the opportunities that, we feel as though we would do good in. For example, I generally believed I would be a good videographer. Didn't end up I wasn't good one. Like I didn't like it, and I didn't think it was something for me. And that's okay. Like it's okay to fail. It's okay to try. I think it's just as good to find out what works for you as it is to find out what doesn't. You don't want to just live an entire life saying, I'll be a great lawyer. I'll be a great, footballer. And then you reach 60 and you've never actually tried. So it's okay to fail and become comfortable with failure.
I like that. So it's okay to fail. So if you take anything away, audience, it's okay to fail. And you're right. I think trying things, seeing what else is out there and seeing what fits is just as important as, someone who knows exactly what they want to do. And Joy, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I would say that the failures prior to getting into the data engineering role were very, very important, because we can all talk about the tech side and appreciate that it's lucrative and that the lifestyle may be very different. However, what a lot of people do not talk about is the fact that they pay you to be able to manage stress, to deal with stress, and to deal with the fact that things will not always go the way in which you want them to go.
That's interesting. Paid to manage stress. I like that. Okay. Say more if you can.
Yeah. You can go in one day expecting to do a task that should take you maybe 1 hour, and you find it takes you the rest of the week. And you feel like you've not gotten anywhere, you bash your head against things, and that's sometimes the reality of what it's like to work. So prior to this, I faced these kinds of problems and failed a lot before getting my first role. So it meant that I had far fewer surprises when it came to starting my role, because I thought, okay, there are going to be days where I feel like I've gotten nothing done, and I'm just trying one thing to the next and looking things up on Google, YouTube, asking people various questions, but that comes as part of the role, and that's absolutely fine.
Okay, that's good to know. And Beatrice, is there anything you'd like to add about your experiences in terms of the navigation and the failures?
So I think in general, you should become comfortable with failing before you get into tech and during your journey in tech, because regardless of what job you do in tech, there'll be days where you quote unquote fail. So maybe something might break, your code might break, you aren't able to solve something, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's an actual phrase called failing fast. So it's like you fail fast very quickly, and then you learn from that. And that's something you should kind of get into the habit of thinking when you're in your journey in tech.
Okay, so failing fast. I don't think I've ever heard that phrase. It gives me a sense of free falling, which is quite a scary feeling. And I can, attest to, there's many roles where you can feel like you're literally free falling. And in your careers in tech, I guess that kind of is part of the journey and what you're expressing here. So far, you've all given a sense of the navigation. I wanted to ask, how important are the technical qualifications in the tech industry or in the fields that you're in the roles versus the soft skills that you've accumulated along your career or through other activities? Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'll start with Joy.
Okay. So to put some numbers on this, at the first tech company that I worked at, they put a split for soft skills to hard tech skills as 70% soft skills and 30% hard tech skills. The tech skills are important. Let's not, discard that. But the soft skills, the communication, being able to listen to everybody, taking on other people's ideas on board and things like that, they're very, very, very important. And that is essentially what allows for projects to be carried forward and put to completion. So, the soft skills are extremely important and they should never be neglected. And if that's something that you're really strong with and you're considering a career in tech, then use that to your advantage rather than focusing on the 30% of things that you don't have, because that can be learned and that can be developed. There are so many resources around us that we can use to develop those things.
That's actually quite surprising, and I wouldn't have thought that the split was so vast. 70% versus 30% is not what most people out there would anticipate. So, I mean, do either of you, Carlos or Beatrice, have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with that. When I was trying to get into the industry, a lot of people we prefer junior engineers who, and just in general, engineers who have good soft skills versus people who are mainly focusing on the technical skills. One thing that I was always told was a lot of people are looking for junior engineers who have good soft skills because they feel like they can teach them the tech skills on the job.
Okay, Carlos.
Yeah, I agree. Even I think from a sort of logical standpoint, for a lot of us who aren't classically trained in our crafts, I think, you do need something to make you stand out. And clearly, if I'm going against someone who went to university and does have that degree, the one thing that I can sort of, the way I can step myself forward is with my communication skills, is with my soft skills, is the ability to listen. And I think especially from someone where when I started after I graduated my law degree, I just wanted to absorb information. And I think it's easier for me to be trained than someone who already went to university and kind of already has a set of sort of ways of how to do things. So yeah, ultimately I do believe the soft skills as a junior, or not as a junior, I think just as a person, as an employee is important, but it's especially more important during your junior phase of your career.
So kind of just to summarize, it's the kind of ability to absorb the information, to be able to learn, to be adaptable, flexible, and kind of have those soft skills that really enhance being in the industry. Okay, I mean, again, those are things that I'm not sure if the audience here, I think, if you're all starting out and your journey is just beginning, the advice that you're giving today is exactly what we're hoping that we've captured and that we can share with the wider audience through the videos. In terms of how important you think careers advice is in your journey. I mean, one thing that I can attest to, I don't remember getting very good careers advice. I mean, Beatrice, you said that yours was almost given in the form of a bit of shade, that you have certain skills and you're a type of way, so you should go into this. How important has the careers advice been for you along your journey, or did you get any? So actually, we'll start with you, Amos. You can.
Yeah, cool. I think you're so true in the fact that career advice isn't as ready available as possible, especially when you're coming out of school and you're coming out of A levels. University, I guess they push it ever so slightly, but again, it's you have to fight to find it. It's not here are all the available careers you can do with your degree. It's just okay, you've handed your dissertation in, now you're in this world of the career, so you have to kind of find it yourself. But I think what I learned, especially at uni, I remember I had a talk once, and my lecturer, he said, try everything, because then that way you know what you don't like. And also, in regards to advice, obviously getting a mentor is incredible, but it's also quite hard to find a mentor, especially in the time that we're living in right now. It's very there's no time, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So a trick that I kind of, I guess, ingrained in myself is to just read books and use books as my mentors, use books as my place for advice. There's so many literature out there for all different types of roles, from tech to anything in the world, really and truly. You just need to find someone that inspires you. You need to find someone that kind of articulates themselves in a similar way to you, so you can understand how they're trying to pass that information into you. And I feel like that's the quickest way to get career advice. Obviously, hit up Lift and Good Growth Hub. I'm sure they've got so much advice that they can provide. But I feel like, yeah, for me, books are the way forward. Like, if you can find a good book, then you're winning. You're winning, yeah.
That's some really good advice. I mean, people underestimate how good the stories and the content in, literature and different literature you can pick up, to learn new skills. But I think that's a really easy, cheap piece of advice to find some books and content that helps. But Beatrice, if you could say more about your careers advice journey.
So I had a really weird GCSE in school called career planning. And basically we had to kind of plan what we wanted to do. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
Was that forever? You had to plan what
It was just like, you have to plan. And I was like, this is a weird GCSE. I don't know why we're doing it. But I told my teacher I didn't know what I wanted to do. And she said, the job that you want to do might not even exist right now. So there's actually no issue not fully knowing what you want to do. And that's
true.
Lo and behold, I didn't know anything about software engineering. I didn't even know that existed. And there are some jobs that are now, like when I was in school, didn't even exist. For example, a YouTube content creator didn't exist. So I guess my advice to people would be the advice I got was the job you might want to do might not even exist right now. So I guess that was my career's advice from when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really old now. I don't think we had YouTube as such, and it wasn't as it is now. So I'll move on. Anyway, Joy.
So as for me, I started off by looking on YouTube. So I wasn't given any career advice from any tangible person as such. But through watching YouTube, I found that some things were important. For example, learning by doing projects. There are projects on just about anything tech-related that you could get your hands on. And that's even if you don't feel, quote, ready to start the project, do it anyway. You will learn things. You will not be the same person that you were when you started. That's the first thing. And then the other one is the power of networking and being in rooms like this room where you can talk to other people who are in positions. Because the second role that I got where I'm training data analysts, think 1 year ago, I didn't even know anything about tech, and now I'm training data analysts. That would not have come if I hadn't spoken to the right people and the right people hadn't seen the ability in me to be able to do that and to push me to apply for roles that I did not feel like I was ready for. So there would be the 2 bits of career advice that I would pass along.
I wanted to just pick up on that point about putting yourself in spaces like this to network and speak. Obviously, it sounds very straightforward, and all of you here, again, it's fantastic to see how proactive you're being and, in the start of your career or even mid-career or pivoting your career, whichever stage you're at. But how easy was it, and what were the challenges, trying to put yourself in front of the right networks, the right people? And I think, Amos, you've already attested to mentors and them being quite challenging to find. How do you go about that? So, I mean, Joy, if you can say a bit more.
Yeah, sure. So a mentor can be somebody who's just a few steps ahead of you from where you are. It doesn't have to be, let's say, somebody who's at the top of their game. It doesn't have to be somebody that you see on a regular basis. It can be people that you connect with online. It could be people that you follow, say, on YouTube. There are people who give career advice on how to get into roles that you can find online and keep following them. As you're doing the other things, like the projects and the workings and things like that, and you expose yourself in the tech space more and more, you then start to understand a lot more about what's required, and you start to ask better questions. You start to know who to kind of speak to and what to say to them once you are able to go and speak to them. Because I will admit that the first time that I did network with people, it was just, hey, how are you? All good. Yeah, it would just be that kind of conversation. It doesn't really go anywhere. But as I then exposed myself to tech in general and understood a little bit more about specific niches within tech, it then allowed me to ask better questions when I did get into networking rooms the next time around, and it allowed me to stay in touch as well with certain people once I found people that were doing something remotely similar to what I wanted to get into. And through continuing to talk to those people, they'll continue to give advice and drop, golden nuggets and keep guiding you.
Yeah, Amos, I wanted to ask you, I mean, the fact that you've been the creative director on these videos, I mean, your network, I'm sure, is huge. And from what I can see on, the platforms that you're on, your work speaks for itself. How easy is it for you to network in the creative and tech space?
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you know what? I think the best advice I could give is like everyone is in the same position, right? Everyone loves hearing about themselves. So the key to networking, and I'm not saying like lick people's like backsides or whatever, but at the same time, it's like find things that resonate with whoever you're speaking to, and then like follow that conversation to a point where you're both inspired from each other, and then instead of like asking for that role straight away at that period of time, like exchange details, like ask for their card or ask to scan their QR code on LinkedIn. And then offer to buy them a coffee where it's just you and that person in a space where you can actually like gain those insights in a more kind of like efficient way. But I would say like don't be scared or nervous to walk up to people and ask them for advice, because I'm sure like everyone that I've ever got advice from, anyone that's ever mentored me, has always kind of like they've been very grateful to see kind of like the direction that I've been going in myself. So I think it's rewarding for both sides. It's not just like, oh, I want something from someone. It's like we're both exchanging. And I think if you can keep it at that, if you can keep it at like a win-win, we're both going to gain from this. And, like you might think that you might not know anything, but like if you speak to people probably like in their, higher level of career, they might say something along the lines of, it's quite nostalgic to speak to someone in the starting career, It might even teach them stuff. So never underestimate yourself is something that I've been taught from young. Never underestimate yourself, and just know your voice is powerful. So just know the right questions to ask, but don't think too hard. Just be yourself and just be human. Like just ask normal questions. Yeah.
There was a lot in there, Amos. I must admit, I can tell and feel the sense that you've been there before and you know what it's like. And again, this was the whole point of these Local Insiders videos that we've produced are real stories, real examples of, people who are facing similar challenges or have faced challenges at different points and, are kind of doing, what you're all here to do today in a different capacity. But I just wanted to also add to you, before we move on, a shameless plug as well. We have been working with a new direction and a Good Growth Hub, the Good Growth Hub, which are over in the Olympic Park area. And so for anyone who doesn't know about them, I would really strongly advise that you check out the videos and also check out their websites, because they have links to creative industries and the tech industry as well, and advice and support for freelancers and all sorts of great resources that you can utilize, as well as these great videos that they've produced in partnership with us. So I just wanted to put that in there before we move on. But I'm also going to ask Amos to do me a favor, because I realize I'm a really inexperienced host. I've sat in a seat where I can't see the timing, so you're going to have to keep me to time, okay, on the big screen, okay? So you give me 2 minutes, okay? I've got my warning. Right, so to be honest, that's perfect, because I think we're going to probably wrap up. And I think the last thing I wanted to ask you, and it was something that came from the last panel that I heard them mention, which I've actually put down, was what you're most proud of in your career so far. So if I can start with you, Beatrice.
Start with them, 'cause I have to think.
You have to think. Okay, Amos, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I think I'm most proud of just being curious. Like curiosity has led me into some very interesting rooms. So yeah, like after I graduated uni, I got this job at this company called Amplify, who are like one of the best experiential agencies in London. And the first project was for Google, and that. It's a long story, but that all just came out from me being curious, me really working hard at the job that I was doing at the time, and then asking the right questions. So yeah, the proudest moment I'd say is just me being curious and being able to be in rooms like this today. Yeah, this is my proudest moment actually. It's pretty cool.
And I've got a follow-up question as well, and I'm going to ask, because we're running out of time, just for you to be brief. But what made you want to work with a Good Growth Hub, Lift, and a new direction to produce these videos, because they've been a great team, and you've been the driving creative force behind the videos and the content that people are going to see. I mean, what made you decide to take on that project? And I'm going to ask you all to think of that as well as your most proud of career moment.
I think for me, like, my granddad has always been like an advocate for education, and I think like based on my own experience of, you know, I was born in Zimbabwe, 5 years old. I've seen poverty at its lowest, and I've seen extreme, the other end of the spectrum. But I think the key to what I'm trying to say is like I've seen the power in education. It doesn't have to be from school. Education can just be from your peers or places like Good Growth Hub and Lift, and I think they provide just that. Interesting and engaging education. So yeah, that's what it was for me. I want to just share what I've learned in my own experience and educate.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask you to be really brief, because I know that Carlos is actually giving my time now. So go on. I'll be really brief. Proud of moment and why you chose to be in the videos and take part. What made you answer the ad?
Okay, so I'd say just in life, I'd say I'm someone who always tries. Win, lose, or draw, I always swing at life. And I believe that's the one thing that's allowed me to keep persevering. And no matter how embarrassing or how bad my failures are, I always keep going to strive and achieve the things that I want out of life. That's it, time.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yep.
I would say that I'm most proud of taking on opportunities and projects and tasks and pieces of work that I've definitely not felt like I'm ready for, because no one will ever be ready before they start. You become the person that you need to be as you take on the work. So that's something that I'd say I'm proud of. And the other question was?
Why did you choose to be in the videos, and what made you sort of answer the ads? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I chose to be in the videos because it genuinely would give an opportunity to inspire other people to also get into the tech space. I essentially became the person that I wish I had before I myself got into the tech space.
Fantastic, thank you. And Beatrice, lastly, what are you most proud of, and why did you participate?
Most proud of helping out my friend get their first junior role in the tech industry, because I'm passing back on what I know, and why I chose to do the videos of Lift, because I feel I want to basically be a black woman representing in tech and helping out other people.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone who stayed for the audience. So if you could give the panelists a round of applause and thank them for their time. Thank you so much. And we do hope that you enjoy the Local Insiders videos. They're on our website. And as I said, we'll be sharing them through Black Tech Fest and Colour in Tech. And if you do want to speak to any of the panelists, because they've all said they're open to networking, so please find them over by the side of the stage. And thank you, and have a good lunch. Bye for now.
Shout out to Patrice as well for hooking us up with this incredible opportunity.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, and shout out to Lift and Good Growth Hub. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you too, Amos.
Bye-bye.
We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.